Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Alpha Art Gallery's Meet the Artist series. My name is Giovanna Abdu, and I'm here with Duane Lutsko, who is an exhibiting artist for the New Brunswick Art Salon Oil and Mixed Media Exhibition. Hi, Duane. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much, Giovanna. How about yourself?
I'm doing amazing. So first, we're going to jump into the fact that you've lived in various American cities and regions. How has moving around developed the American collective consciousness that is often referred to in your work? Is this personal lived experience what ultimately inspired your interest in landscape painting?
That's a very loaded question, Giovanna. Um, and to just march it backward, what inspired my interest in landscape painting? Um, I was living in New York City. I was fresh out of college, undergraduate school, and I I was painting plein air, and that certainly is one of the things that has drawn me into landscape because plein air it is a world into and of itself when you're working directly from your subject and when the light's always changing. It creates so many challenges and demands, and um, it's it's always a challenge and thrilling to meet those demands. In any case, when I was in New York City, I was drawn to rooftops. So I went up on rooftops and started painting those views, because it seemed to me that it was so indigenous to what New York City was about. In terms of the broader, my developing understanding of the collective American conscious, boy, that's a mouthful. My understanding, um, honestly, or what I'd like my work to address in terms of that understanding is, uh, hey, everybody, stop, look around, breathe, take in this landscape in whatever format we see it, because I'm not interested in painting postcards. I'm very interested in painting a lot of the detritus and the discard, the tools, the machinery that we use, and we avoid looking at, particularly as markers in a landscape. And I think that that's really, really significant.
You for your answer. I think I totally agree with everything you mentioned. I'm also very drawn to rooftops. I feel like it's a great place to feel like you're on top of the world and get an idea of the general city. So what you said really resonated with me. But you've also lived in Florence for a period. Do you incorporate that time in your works, or did it affect any techniques that you deploy today?
Florence, I've been fortunate enough to have been able to have been to Italy about a half a dozen times, of which twice I've lived there for pretty extended periods. The it culminated for me personally in terms of a Fulbright fellowship in painting, and it was just such a terrific experience. I shoot, the thing about it is that for me, getting that Fulbright was just such a wonderful sense of accomplishment, because I fell in love with Italy. I promised myself that I would go back there on a Fulbright. I went back. I went to graduate school, um, and so it was just this. It was this dream that was realized, and it was also so um, so what I cherished so much about it was that it was my art had finally opened a door for me into this huge world of really smart people, the fellow Fulbright grantees, living abroad. So it was just such a sense of accomplishment. In terms of my technique, um, it it certainly did influence me. Um, but not that directly. The as I said, um, the overall effect on myself was really just that sense that wow, art can take me places. This is really cool. This is really going to be neat.
Thank you for sharing that. So your artist statement mentions art as being transformative, transcendental, and able to anchor our humanity. How do you apply these notions to your artwork?
I think that one of the components that I'm addressing is the idea of of aesthetics. Aesthetics is one of the anchors of axiology, of philosophy, and what axiology looks at is what we value. Why do we value? Why do we hold these things valuable? It's aesthetics is right there with ethics and morals. Why is it good? Why is it bad? What makes it good and bad? And I'm bringing that up because I think that is such an important component to art, and it can extend well beyond painting, certainly. And that component is when you have that aha moment, that epiphany, where you see something for the first time. I think that's when aesthetics really just grabs you, and it's so hard to define, isn't it? Um, I remember when I was still going back to undergraduate school, and I came up to that. I was living in California. That's where I'm from, and I went into the California Palace at Legion of Honor over Thanksgiving break. And I turned the corner, and I just saw this painting on a wall that was just glowing from like 50 feet away. And it was like, and I just walked up to it, and it was a Van Gogh. It was a Van Gogh that I'd never seen before. Van Gogh was my early hero when I was still in high school. I went out and bought National Geographic, the complete letters, read it cover to cover. He was my guy. But when I saw this painting, I just, oh my God, I wanted to just cry. I wanted to weep. It was so beautiful. And it was like, wow, I finally see Van Gogh. And it was such a profound moment. And I get that still. And I think and hope and believe that's what a lot of people get from it. Um, and music as well. I can listen to a Beethoven piano concerto and just be stopped in my tracks. So I think that's where it helps us to anchor our humanity. It opens our eyes to things we've never seen before, and in doing that, it gives us pause and just a moment to just live that experience.
I think that is a beautiful answer. And I have to agree, Van Gogh is definitely an artist where he makes you stop in your tracks and you just can't look away because there's always more to look at. So that was a very beautiful answer. And kind of going along with that question, you also mentioned a flow state to creativity. Do you find that you tap into this flow state when you are painting? And just in general, what is your creative process?
Um, I think it's important for us to first talk about what flow state refers to. I think probably a lot of people have a pretty good idea, but it was specifically developed by this positive psychologist by the name of, and I'm going to butcher his name. I just am, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Um, and he came up with this marvelous idea of what I had known previously as being in the zone. And it's that for me, that quintessential moment when all of a sudden you you transcend yourself. You get out of yourself. I don't know about you, but generally speaking, when I'm left my own devices, my brain can take me into some pretty dark places. And I'm saying that because that's exactly what the flow state relieves me of. It's that area where all of a sudden everything is just it's you can do no wrong. Everything's working. It's like you don't have enough hands because you want to paint so much, and it you lose track of time. I remember painting sometimes, and um, uh, my my wife will call down, honey, we're going to have dinner in 45 minutes. Okay, all right, call me down. Honey, it's dinner time. Okay, all right. And then, 3 hours later, I come up. What do you mean the dinner's cold? But so that's what the flow state is. How am I able to tap into it? Um, Whenever and as often as I can. But to be clear, the flow state is not something that you just trip into backwards. It's about all the hard work that you put into it, not just on a daily basis, but throughout your life. It's that state of focus where you just lose awareness of everything else. It's For me, it is one of the special places that I always want to be in and with, and it's one of the real gifts that painting can provide for sure.
Great, thank you. So your art has movement to it. You can especially see it in your works that involve roads and highways. Why is capturing that movement important?
Well, thank you for that kudo. I'm delighted to see that you have noticed that. Uh, Speaking very basically, movement is an art principle that unifies. And so to directly address your question or your context, it is so important for a painting to be unified as a whole, and so that's what movement can and does facilitate. But to just sort of extend the discussion a little bit, um, it's important for me to be clear that I consider myself foremost a painter, and I'm saying that as opposed to an artist. And I'm saying that because I'm so much more interested in the life of my painting, and in the organic structure that hopefully it develops from. Um, I don't Going back to the flow state, when when a painting is working is is not when I'm in charge of it. It's when the painting is telling me what to do, and that's part of that gift. Um, so what what's important for me as a painter, and it's amazing because there are so many good painters out there, and I, I it's you know I can I can I can really appreciate when painting and when sort of an idea or statement comes through is very salient, and that's a wonderful thing. Um, by the same token, I'm also very happy if my painting holds its own on its intrinsic value as a painting.
I do certainly think that your paintings do hold their own. And when I look at your artwork, I think the movement within it is a great representation of the American collective consciousness because highways and roads naturally have a lot of movement that go with it. And I think one of the American mentality sometimes is that go, that movement, especially in the East Coast and in New York, it's very much go. So I think incorporating that movement in your artwork is just a fantastic move.
That's a wonderful commentary and addition, Giovanna. And gee, I wish I'd said that.
So
Thank you.
still talking about your artwork, Could you talk a little bit about your color palette? The colors you use appear to be intentionally muted. So why is that, and what does it add to the narrative you are trying to paint?
Well, when I looked at that question, because you had sent it to me previously, it stopped me in my tracks because I don't think that my colors are that muted. As a matter of fact, I see myself more as a colorist than I do as a tonalist. Um, I I respond very well to color, and returning to something I'd said just earlier about how there's so many good painters, um, and there are so many good painters, and so many of them are just such fine tonalists. And I really enjoy the quote that I heard from B.B. King. He talked about when he was first breaking in to the blues and how he looked out on the landscape and there were just so many good blues guitarists. And he realized that he couldn't be as good as them. And that's when it hit him. He had to be as good as he could be. He had to be his own guitar player. And that was the best answer I could come up with your color question because for me, color has more of a resonance than working tonally. And to be honest, I'm I'm occasionally kind of ribbing myself about how I should be more of a tonalist. But then again, it's you can't beat what the master B.B. King said.
Thank you for that commentary. For me personally, I really enjoy your use of color. To me, I feel like it is a ode to that collective consciousness. When I look at your paintings, I get a sense of nostalgia, that like brings me back to my memories of certain, you know, gas stations, certain highways that I've been on. So I enjoy your use of color, and thank you for talking more about your thoughts behind it. So how has your art then evolved throughout your career? Has teaching, because you are a teacher, has teaching affected your artistic trajectory at all?
Oh, absolutely. Teaching at this point in my life is fundamental to my process, um, and for so many reasons. It 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 always keeps me in grounded in the fundamentals, and I'm such a firm believer in that. Um, uh, Teaching is also it just gives me such a nice opportunity to just share with other people, students, and and not just share art and painting and and the process, but to be part of that shared risk taking because that's what I really see painting as is it is risk taking and it's a risk every day. It's why de Kooning said, you get up in the morning, you set up to paint, and the first thing you want to do is take a nap because you're in for it. And uh, but uh, but that's what teaching facilitates, and it's so important, I think, for all of us on that human level scale to have that sense of communion through that shared risk taking and that studio practice. Another thing that teaching has really helped me with is just being able to speak halfway intelligently about painting and about art. Um, and then certainly there are just the social benefits of it. When you're in your studio all the time, you tend to become very isolated. So it's nice to have that exercise, that practice of of being in that social realm as well. Um, um, and yeah, I think that wherever my painting is at right now, um, absolutely teaching has an impact and a reflection on that, to be sure.
Your passion for painting and teaching definitely shines through. And I think teachers being passionate about what they teach is so just monumental for the students, and it really makes a difference between um, how they retain the information. So it's great to see how passionate you are. Lastly, is there anything you want to add or talk about that we haven't touched on already?
Um, I think that we've covered a lot of good stuff. If I want to say anything, it's that um, getting back to that idea of humanity, and you know, um, art art has the ability to 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 touch all of us, and to break barriers. And I know that so much of that sounds just like sort of stereotypical kind of pablum, but it really does. And you can see that when you just do something simple, like go to a concert and just watch how that is bringing all of these hundreds or thousands of people together. It's it's just remarkable. So I guess I'd like to go out on that note, that I am really happy to be a link in that chain that is carrying that forward.
That's a great note to end on. So again, thank you so much for being here with us today. We can't wait to see your artwork at our exhibition titled Color and Texture: Anthropologies of Artistry, which will be on view from August 27th to October 19, 2024. Thank you again, and have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you very much, Giovanni. You too, and have a nice weekend for yourself.